Yo, what is up, guys? It's been a while, but we're back. Patch 8.11 rundown. I kind of waffled over the ISO stuff specifically, so I'm going to go over that one more time. ISO specifically in terms of this patch is really good. I thought they actually took out his little orb mini game, but the fact that you can just shield up, still orb out is amazing. I said this earlier before too, though. The one thing I do disagree with and wish they changed were his other two abilities, so they actually help his kit. I wish you could malleate or make the wall a bit more malleable as you're playing and control exactly where it stops. That'd be a really good change. Or have Undergut help you out more so than just have you fighting maybe slow enemies a little bit, because it's still very obvious where you peak from. That being said, ISO right now really good and a lot more readable too, because you can hear him coming as the shield is so much more effective and OP now, and refreshing it is so much easier too. So really good change. Past that, I'm going to dive right into Neon and send it to past Shio in my old life earlier today back. And I'll see you once again at the end of the video. As much. Rebrand of identity. Now we want a Neon. I want to sharpen Neon as an agent who excels at taking mobile fights. So you're basically the Neon changes are moving a lot of power into her mobility and like her dueling capabilities on the fly, and less on her executions overall. I feel like a lot of the times when people are playing Neon now, it's all about setting up these really good relay bolts and then being able to move in and play off of them. Whereas now it's more so setting up good timings and then being able to actually aggress off those timings and not the bolt specifically. I believe some of the changes here, first of all, it's the wall. It dissipates from behind to minimize visual noise. So you basically have cover and you can play with the timing on the cover. Putting cover down and using it is not going to be an end all be all for you. A lot of the times Neons in the past would put their wall out, and then after that, the biggest issue would be, you know, you're in a spot and you're going to be in a very big 50-50 against enemies. If sometimes even you put yourself in a crossfire, and it's very hard to pick apart fights even if you know where people are, and it's very obvious where you are. Now, because this wall dissipates a little bit slower from the backside, you kind of set the tone of your fights, and you can find better timings on people, and you can find better duels as the person utilizing your own wall. That's really good. High gear in terms of the sprint ability, Neon signature. Insane from all the footage I've seen. The double dash, the accuracy with the stinger, even the op that comes out when you're using this, the speed of that, absolutely nuts. Very cool to put all the mobility on, or all the power on this specific ability in her kit. The big thing too with Neon specifically that's changed is the fuel time, the fuel uptime overall. So we go from a fuel regen being 60 seconds. So once you get to a site, you're kind of just like hoping for a kill to regen everything. And a lot of the times good Neons, this is for me as well, I didn't feel the hurt of her fuel regen running out, or a fuel running out as much, unless I made like a rotation very early and then didn't really get a kill and then had to play around on site. Well, the fact of the matter is now Neon can sprint literally wherever she wants, and in about 10 seconds have enough fuel to be able to duel once again and do crazy things once again, or re-rotate again as well. So one really cool thing versus Neon and Yoru is it's a really good counterplay versus them is throwing fakes, because it kind of locks them into one side and it's very hard for them to go right back to the other. You can really abuse this in ranked, but now she's a little bit more malleable. Now, say you're playing Neon on Breeze, or Breeze is not even in, say you're playing on Icebox, or even Ascent. I mean, she's gonna be playing on all maps, even Abyss. If you rotate from one side to the other, if things aren't going well on your side, at least you can move fast, use your kit to go and cover mid, or cover, like, you know, bottom tube, rather than just being stuck in your spot as a speed agent, really not moving around, getting any info or anything at all in terms of being, you know, the most mobile character in the game. So very good change. Relay bolts, a big buff to it, but it just goes down to 1. I think it's fine when it comes to people picking up the character. It's just going to be more intuitive to use this ability. I just think this ability, even in its old case, was broken. Having 2 charges of it is like having 2 breach stuns, and it was crazy just the amount of fights you could snowball and literally just breach alt. I call it like tumbling a fight, where you do so well in one, you just completely fall into the other and the other again and again in a very fast fashion. This was a very nice tumble type of ability, where if you hit one of them, you get a kill. It's very obvious where the next people are going to be, and you're able to really tumble into the next fight super fast. But being able to just have one, I think, is good, because, you know, paired with the big slide now, you get a really good first kill, and then you have another side to maybe get a second, and if you get that second kill, you have a third side to use inside the game. So honestly, really good change. It should be a little bit overloaded if she still had 2 relay bolts, 1 to stop and 1 to fight. But now you have to actually, there's a little bit of a skill gap here, where you have to choose whether you want to fight with a relay bolt, or retake with the relay bolts, or stall with the relay bolt. You only have 1 per game to use, Sometimes, you know, once again, I'm using Breeze. I play a lot of Neon on Breeze as an example. It's not on the map pool anymore, but if they're coming A, you could use one relay bolt to stop the A push, and you can use another one on a B retake if they decide to go B to do that retake. That's not there anymore. So good change overall. Just a lot more power in her sprint, a lot more power in what makes her an agent, which is cool. I just hope it's not too broken. From what I've seen, it might be just a little bit. We go over to Reyna now. This is just healing changes, and it's a little bit more to, you know, address how she is in ranked and how she is at the same time in pro play, or in just a lot more higher level settings where you can really play around her, especially when she uses like big ultimate abilities. So her ultimate is kind of permanent now, which is very nice. Not even kind of, it's absolutely permanent, which is really, really good. And her dismiss is a lot faster. You can get from point A to point B super fast. It's just you are not in that mode for a long time now, which I think is a really good change, because a lot of the times Reyna's dismiss in one of these, like, you know, 1vx situations towards the end of rounds, that dismiss lasting so long, I know it's just a 0.5 second longer. You buy so much time and information now rather than reposition. So it's nice now that she's more focused on being safe and not really going for info as much. It kind of flows more into that duelist role more than anything else, and it kind of puts Reyna into spots where she can be a lot more creative with this ability. I feel like dismiss is always about running away. I feel like now it can be about getting a little bit more aggressive. Like, you know, you get a kill, your attack side offense on Icebox, you get a retake kill. Spec's been planted, you get an offensive kill on yellow. You can dismiss probably all the way into their nest, under nest, right behind them, and then move things that way. It's just really cool. You get a kill there, move to Snowman. So that's obviously while Empress is active, or else people would really be able to see where you're going. You get the gist though. It's really cool that you have creativity with this. And the biggest change I think we've all been asking since Reyna was created, remember she had four heal orbs before, Devour being decreased from 100 to 50, really nice. It's just a broken ability in general. I think in a game that's like kind of attack FPS, and heals are like, you know, so annoying, I feel like, and just hard to balance. You want to have, like, if you take a fight with someone, it feels really bad as the player that loses the fight but does damage, that your damage is not sticking or it's not there over time at all. The balance of this, of course, is that it's a faster heal, and overheal no longer decays, which I think is totally fine because it rewards you actually going for clean fights and winning them. You'll be able to overheal really only if you have a lot of advantages inside that fight, and you took it in a very clean way, and you did a really good job in the fight that you took. Any fights where you kind of mess up, you're going to be feeling that now, and players will be rewarded for actually fighting Reyna. So you buff the ways she can fight, and you kind of hit her in ways that punish her if she doesn't fight well, and you actually put her in a position where it's easier to fight her too, and you're more rewarded for fighting her. So overall, these three changes kind of work, like, you know, in a recycle emoji format. Really good. Raze, let's look at her real quick. She's just busted in terms of dive. Her satchels no longer explode for damage knockback upon opponent destruction. That's really good. So ciphers on Sunset can rejoice on their trips having to 100% be used for, or used with a Raze nade and not a Raze satchel, because I see a lot of Razes trying to just find value with that satchel there sometimes. But that's really good. Good counterplay. Horizontal velocity been slower, but honestly, when I was watching Abyss, like, it just seems really fast still. I hope she's not able to go with one satchel from, like, you know, short on bind to truck. I hope that still takes two. But hey, man, honestly, I think it just needs to fix the verticality. The horizontal capabilities is fine, but the fact that she can just go so far up and fast with one is just so much value. You're giving, like, someone two Jet dashes, right? Imagine Jet is dibs on Reyna today. You got Neon, I got you 100%. I'm down. The thing with the thing with Raze that doesn't make sense for me is that I attribute Raze to Pikachu in Super Smash Bros, if that makes sense. Pikachu's up being Super Smash Bros lets you go one direction and then another, and she's the only character in the game that gets the another capability. Like, the game has been nerfed to a point where the Pikachu characters like Jet and Raze and Yoru choose one spot and they get to go there. I think Neon has to invest in ultimate to be able to go one way and then move the other. Like that's 8 orbs to be able to have that process on a combo where you save your first process too. The fact that Raze has had this thing where she can go in first and then, depending on what happens, even link her ultimate ability into it and then move another way, is crazy for, like, the cost of 200, 300 credits. So the fact that the fact of the matter is, I honestly think that you can just buff the satchel and have one, because imagine if Jet could dash once and then dash again. I know Neon has that capability now, but Neon's not vertically going anywhere. So I think the best way to balance blast pack or dash or slide is to just have it only horizontal. I actually don't like horizontal velocity being nerfed as much or slowed. I think just the verticality has to be nerfed. If you're blast backing from somewhere below, maybe you shouldn't just go as high. Maybe you have to commit to go higher. Maybe if you're already in the air and you blast back again, then you get both blast packs worth of mobility, but you're only moving one way. It's just crazy that I can decide to go to triple from bind short on attack as raise, and then if things look sour, like base 100%, it's required. It's a mechanical thing, but you can just switch trajectories and go straight to U-Haul afterwards. I think that you just have one goal. Do it if verticality is involved. You should have creativity if it's horizontal. If you're going for something horizontal, because it's a lot more trackable inside the attack FPS. But from what I saw from a lot of the gameplay on Abyss from creators, her satchel doesn't even look that nerfed. We have to also remember that Raze did a lot of damage on Haven as well, at least in ranked. I have to go back and dude, it's been so long since I watched any Haven whatsoever in terms of VCT, but her satchels being nerfed could do a lot of things in that map specifically, because there is a lot of horizontal space in Haven coming off of the B doors on defense, coming off C long, A long as well. So many different spots where there's a little bit of uphill depending on what side you're coming from. Raze might not be as fun to play or as easy to execute in those situations. Last but not least is Clove. Pick me up. I completely disagree with this change, but it is what it is. It is a little bit strong. The biggest issue with let's just go over the changes first before I start ranting once again. Not dead yet, which is her ultimate, being reduced from 7 to 8, I think is totally fine. Unequipped delay getting a little bit higher is also, I guess, fine. I wish the duration you're in, like you're a little bit of arena dismiss mode, was also prolongated. Then you have a little bit more chances to decide where you want to go down if your unequipped delay is going to go a little bit higher too, but it's totally fine. This is a good change on the ultimate, because I'm tired of fighting the Clove over and over again in these games. The amount of times Clove is really good at being in the right spots and getting kills as well is huge. I feel like I was seeing 4 to 5 Clove ultimate games. I hope that goes down to 2 to 3. I think Clove should be should be using an ult as much as like Sova or Killjoy, honestly, if they didn't get orbs. Because sometimes, at the same time, honestly, the less this ult is here, the better. Good change. Pick me up though, I think a very good ability that should be gated on like when you should be able to actually use it. Or how do I explain this? There's so many layers to this. This pick me up nerf is a nerf to the costs, the overall duration, as well as the assist time to activate. I think the biggest thing that should change is just the assist time to activate. There's not much else Clove has in her kit, and she really requires orbs to be a very good agent that's online and active all the time. Clove without her ultimate is kind of a very basic agent, and Viper and a lot of other agents that have supportive utility, like slows and acidic bites and mollies, already substitute what she's good for, which is her Q. I forget totally what it's called, but she just throws it, you get the Cade. If you have a Fade on the team, Clove is basically doing the same thing, but like honestly worse, because people can move out of it. The biggest thing with Pick Me Up that was good is that it's a one-time use ability. People that were already using it struggled in terms of when to use it. It has an animation that kind of cancels your gunfire as well. The fact that its cost is being reduced, so it's not there all the time, and the duration overall is lowered as well. Slightly annoying, because I think it's just equally, it's fine in how powerful it is. It should just be lower in how active it can be. But no, nerfing its power and duration and cost is, I think, the best thing they can do versus the heal. And I wish, honestly, even though I disagree with this change in terms of the cost and duration, I wish more agents were changed on the cost of their abilities overall than anything else. I really like the power you give to people, but once people get used to that power, because this is kind of like the Riot Classic on releasing things, give the people the opportunity to use it, and then make it the balanced form of, in terms of, or make the ability the balanced form of what the idea was in the beginning, or the fair use of the ability while keeping its identity, is something that a lot of the time it's something that happens a lot of the time for agents and champions and cards even in Runeterra that come out. I just wish this was used more throughout the entirety of the roster. Like Raze specifically, we can go back again, it's always going to be a conversation about her blast packs. the fact that, I don't know, they're like 300, 200, make raised blast packs 500 and see what happens. And see how things go in terms of people double satcheling in every single round, people double satcheling in on ecos with Buckies. Like, things like that won't be possible, or they will be possible, but like, you will be punished if things go wrong for you. It can stay a strong ability, it can have its horizontal capabilities, but make it expensive to do. The number one changes made in CS that really rocked how you played the game or the risks you wanted to take were changes to the economy. When the M4A4 is 3,300 and the M4A1S is 2,900, I question which one I want. I truly have to think about what I want to do, because one is more punishing than the other, and the other one is such a safe option where sometimes if I went the more punishing route, I could have had a better experience in the round. But economic risks in a game that has money should be, I feel like, focused on more in terms of nerfing and buffing things than power overall. And I realize it's like more so abilities and agents now and not just weapons, but once again, experimenting with money and how often you're able to get these things and how it affects the rest of your gameplay in the rounds might be a better idea of moving forward with balance than straight up just nerfing the ability is. Because man, people find like raised blast packs at the very start of the game, it was really just flights doing a lot of crazy shit, right? It was everything else, like, people were really getting used to this ability. This ability is 100%, you know, broken or strong, but it's been curated for like years in Valorant now. And getting that changed completely can sometimes be very annoying for people. It's really good for people if you make things super much harder to, I don't know, even start or execute, but their level of execution stays the same. You know, like, it's a bit more punishing to do because it's costly, but they're so good at doing it that the cost doesn't affect them as much. And for the up and comers, it'll be more dangerous. For the people that use it haphazardly, it'll be more dangerous. So I love to see things like that. Yeah, more often in the game. Cypher changes is one big like thing of it, you know, making the tripwires so expensive, so you have to have, like, you know, you can't just throw trips wherever you want, you have to think about your trips. Changes like that are really good. I enjoy those a lot. Awesome, thanks so much for watching. That's patch 8.11. We'll have more on Abyss coming out tomorrow in terms of which agents are the best on it in every single role. And then you can also follow my second channel here for more information on other games and other games that I'm playing in general. We're going to be coming out with a bunch of demos that just came out earlier on just this week in Steam Next Fest. We're checking out, I think, around 12 games, and I'm showing you guys, if you guys like playing anything on the downtime for Valorant or any other games in general, exactly what's going on in that side of the world. But thanks for watching, and hope you guys have a dope night and day. Like, subscribe, all that stuff too. That would be appreciated. Peace.